Hello guys, so in this video we'll be talking about the React context and its secret APIs, and to understand that we'll firstly go through various rendering optimizations that we can do in our React applications. So it is pretty important when you have a very large scale applications having thousands of components, right? You don't want to render the 500s of components uselessly, even when there are no significant things changing in the components. Then also you are rendering the numbers of components in your applications. That's not a good idea, right? So we'll be studying how React Context API provides a very secret API for optimizing this. And one more thing, I am not encouraging any unstable features to be used, right? So this secret that I am going to talk about is related to a bit masking concept in React, which is probably going to be available in the future versions, right? It's not currently available, so I'm not encouraging its use. I'll also tell you how we can I'll also tell you the alternative methods to actually optimize, right? So our main motto is to basically explore and experiment the APIs, right? So that we can understand these things better. So what we'll do is we will go to a closed PR of React. Okay, if you see, this is a React ISO 15156, and it was raised by Patrick Janik on 20th March 2019. He reported a bug that he can't rely on data from context API by using use context hook to prevent unnecessary renders with React memo. So what is he trying to tell? So for that, what I'll do is I'll go through a basic definition of React context so that you can understand his problem, right? And then we can go on to solve it. So basically it is already solved, but we have to understand a raised bug, right? A raised React issue which was being solved, right? So let's go to the basic concept of React context. So we know that there is a store, right, holding some data, and there are a number of components which can subscribe to the store, right? Now if anything in the store changes, I know that my components re-render, right? So right now in React, to support this type of architecture, React already provides us the React Context API, and how does it work is something we'll be talking about in a few minutes, right? So let's say my component 1 wants to access this thing, right? So in React we have a concept of providers. A provider will be providing this whole store data to my component, right? So let's look at this diagram. Here is my provider. Okay, it has two data, basically one object having two keys, C1 and C2. Okay, and there are three consumers, okay, or three components who want to use that data, right? So why do we even need context for that? So your first question should be that why do we actually need a context? We can just pass the props, right? We can just pass this whole object as the prop to the any number of components that I want. But again, this lands us into a number of issues. Like, let's say there are a number of intermediate components between the consumer, so we need to drill our props one by one till it reaches a consumer, which is pretty boilerplate and as well as time taking code to write, right? So these are three consumers where I actually want to consume this data. So what React provides is a solution to this prop drilling problem, right? What it does is it provides us a provider, right? We have this state. Now there will be consumers who can directly access this data without any need of prop drilling. And how we do that is something we'll know when we code a live example over here, right? So I have taken a very interesting example to explain this concept, right? So basically even Redux internally uses this kind of architecture, right? There are a number of consumers who wants to consume some data. Now we must understand that along with this, these all are subscribers. So even anything in this store changes, the consumers are the ones who render, right? What they will do is they will render themselves to the data they have subscribed. But there is something wrong about which he raised this issue. So why did he raise this issue? First of all, so we know that, let's say this whole object, or basically any kind of it might be also a string, this data changed, right? So when this data changes, all my consumers are re-rendering, but it might be sometimes inefficient. How is that? Let's say my C1 component is actually dependent only on C1. So my C1 component should render only when this C1 data changes, right? But right now it is dependent on the whole value of this store. So this is not something efficient, right? We must have a way such that my C1 should only change when this data changes, this C1 changes, not the entire thing. Even if the C2 will change, my C1 component will re-render. So this is the problem, right? How are we going to solve it? So we'll be diving into the code. So first of all, let me again explain if this is unclear. So one case is that my store value changed from this to, let's say my C1 value became 5, okay, and my C2 value remains 4, but I know that this is completely a new object. So whenever this new object comes, right, I'm not deep comparing anything, right? I'm just checking that, okay, so basically this is the current implementation of React context, is that whenever the whole data of the store changes, all these components subscribe, irrespective of whether it is actually subscribing only to one of the keys of the data, right? So my C1 should actually render only when C1 changes, right? It should be irrespective of this whole object. So now what we will do is we will provide React this power to actually only render when one of the attributes of the store change, right? So let's say my store contains an object, a key of the object changes, then only my consumer should re-render. So this is going to be available directly in the future versions of React, which we'll be talking about in a few minutes. So let's first understand that how we can ourselves make this optimization, right? So let's jump to the. So guys, this is an example which I have set up for you guys, and this is a pretty interesting example because there are some familiar character names that I'm going to use for you. And what is this? First of all, let's try to understand it. I have just kept a store which is holding some amount of guns and carpets, okay, and there is a provider named Kalin Bhaiya, okay, and if you see, I have just created a React context over here, okay, whose initial value is just this 0 guns and 0 carpets, okay, and my Kalin Bhaiya is the context, is my React context, and this Kalin Bhaiya, I know that every context has a provider and a consumer, right? So I'm just wrapping these two components named Guddu and Bablu, okay, which are my child components, okay, and they are gonna need access to the number of guns and carpets because they want to increase the business. They want to increase the amount of guns and carpets in the Kalin Bhaiya's business, right? So this is a very interesting example. I don't know how it came into my mind, but I think so. What I've done is this provider is going to provide this value. Okay, what is this value? If you see, this value is just store.state. Okay, I've just kept a local state mapping to this. Okay, store.state. Fine. So I have a value, right, and I have a function to change it, that I can change this whole state of the provider. I have the capacity, right, when I have exposed a method over here. Fine. So now I know that my Guddu and Bablu components can access everything that has been provided through the provider. So this provider has provided this value, okay, to all the components that have been wrapped inside this provider, right? Directly or indirectly, everything would be available inside this, inside the every component that has been wrapped, right? So I know that Guddu, so let's give a separate business to both of them. Guddu is going to control the amount of guns, okay, and Bablu is going to control the amount of carpets, right? So if you see in the component named Guddu, I have a button named, okay, let me change this, buy guns. Fine. So Guddu is going to buy guns and Bablu is going to buy the carpets, if you see the Bablu component, right? So this is a button whose on click I'm going to call. So how am I accessing the values provided by the store? If you see, React provides this hook, use context. Okay, I'm using the context of Kalin Bhaiya to get all the data that has been provided by him, right? That has been provided by the provider that was wrapped above me, right? So this data, I know that I'm going to access the setStore method, right? If you see, the setStore method has the capacity to change the store.state, right? This is basically a local state that I have made, right? And I have provided this as the value to the provider, right? Now I know that Bablu can change the store, and what is he going to change is the number of carpets. He will just increase the previous amount of carpets by 1. Okay. Similarly, Guddu is going to increase the previous number of guns by 1. Fine, simple. So I have provided this capacity to Bablu and Guddu to increase the amount of guns and carpets, right? And how are they going to do it? Because they have been wrapped in a provider. They can access the store, that's why they can change it, right? So now let's try to figure out how is this behaving, right? let's click on buy guns. Okay, see Guddu is, so this is the text that is me displaying the number of carpets. Okay, so still I have the carpets as 0. So when I'm buying the carpets, I am getting this, I'm increasing the number of carpets on the store, right? In my provider, this, if you see, this whole store.state has been mapped to a local state and it is getting changed whenever I'm clicking on these two buttons, right? Why I have just why I am highlighting this by red is a reason which I'm going to talk in few minutes, right? So currently, whenever I click on buy guns, if you see, though it's not kind of visible, that's why I'm highlighting over here that both Guddu and Bablu components are rendering. So both are close, both are very close, both are brothers. Whenever Guddu goes to buy guns, Bablu also goes with him. He just re-renders with Guddu. Similarly, Bablu, when he goes to buy the carpets, Guddu re-renders themselves, right? Or Guddu goes with Bablu. So both are re-rendering irrespectively, like uselessly. When Guddu is buying the guns, only the data of guns is changing, right? Bablu shouldn't even re-render, right? And vice versa is applicable. So when I'm buying guns, only Guddu component should render, and when I'm buying the carpets, only Bablu component should re-render itself, right? But right now, my both components are re-rendering. So hope you are getting this. Why is it happening? Because currently we are going to see how we are going to optimize this whole thing, right? So when we see this whole thing, right, if you see this text, how am I controlling this color is that I have an effect written over here which runs on each and every update, right? There is no second param, so it will run on every update. And what it does is, so whenever it will run, it means that my component has been updated, or my component is rendering, right? I'm changing it to red, and just after a few milliseconds I'm reverting the color to white, right? This is the thing that I'm doing to state. So whenever the component highlights, it means that that component is rendering or is updating, right? So now I'm going to control this. Like how should I make Bablu stagnant, right? When Guddu is buying guns, right? He should not re-render himself. So how to do this? So first of all, let's figure out what is actually happening right now. Whenever I click on buy guns, right, I am indirectly calling this setStore method. So it means that whenever local state is getting changed, it means that this whole component is going to re-render itself, right? There is no stopping. So when this re-render itself, I know that this whole value is going to change, right? Because setStore changes the value, right? setStore changes the value of guns. When Guddu buy guns, the guns values changes, and my whole object also changes because it's the re-rendering of this component. And when the object changes, every consumer, that is Guddu and Bablu, right, are re-rendering themselves. So there are a number of ways to control it, right? So let's see how we can do this, right? So first of all, there is a concept of memoization, right? So if you go into this component named Guddu, I know that I want to re-render this only when the guns changes, right? So what I will do is I am just going to wrap this in react.useMemo, and the first argument of this is a function, okay, which returns the component, returns the memoized component and the parameter, okay. Okay, the parameter. So if you see, useMemo will only recompute the memoized value when one of the dependencies has changed. So I must pass only the guns over here, so that when the guns changes, my Guddu should re-render, not on the basis of carpets. So how should we do it, right? So here what I will suggest is we can remove the react.useMemo from here, because we can't actually access the data.guns from outside, right? We have this data over here. So what we will do is we'll use the react.useMemo over here, and we are gonna pass a second argument to it, that is data.guns, okay, and save it. So now, fine, what is it saying is that next.create is not a function. Let me see what is the issue over here. So react.useMemo only accept a function as the first argument, which returns the component, fine. So now if you see, when Bablu is buying the carpets, my Guddu is not re-rendering, because actually the number of guns in my store is same, right? The number of guns is actually not changing. So this is one of the way in which we can control the re-rendering of our components, right? But if you click on by guns, see both are rendering, right? It means that I have not applied the memoization in Bublu. Same thing, I can do it over here, right? So let's do it. React.use memo. It will have its second argument as data dot carpets, fine. And again the same issue, we must return the function as the first argument, fine. Now if you see, when I click on guns, only my Gudu is rendering, and when I click on carpets, only Bublu is rendering. So this way we have, so what does react.use memo do? It has just loaded one component upon initialization, and it will only re-render it, or it will only call this. So what is a component over it? It is just a function, right? So whenever you are calling that function, it means that is being re-rendered. So when you are memoizing this function, you are saying that your function should get called only when these value change, right? It is an array of dependencies, right? So when your carpet changes, then only this whole component will be called, or this function will be called. And what does it mean? That only then a new execution context would be created, or a new render will happen, right? So this is how we are going, how we are controlling it. So in short, we have just mimicked a pure component or an efficient component, right? So now let's try to understand a new secret API of React context, right? That is the use of bit masks to control this. So let me come to the old React issue over here, right? So this is what this guy was trying to do, that we just did, right? He's trying to rely on the data from context API, right? By using use. So see this, he has used a use context, okay? And he is doing something, and of course he has a react.memo outside. So what he tries to do is just what we have done, right? He is trying how to rely on the context inside this react.memo. So this is, if you see, the solution suggested over here is just similar to what we have done, right? So we are rendering a component which is actually memoized depending upon one of the parameters of the context value, right? So this is something which we have implemented over here. In fact, to be more precise, so all these three options are very related, but if you compare, this is something that we have done, right? We could make our code a bit more, but keep it in a single component by wrapping the return value in use memo and specifying its dependencies, right? Our component would still re-execute, but React wouldn't re-render the child tree if all use memo inputs are same. Fine. So this is it, but there is something else, right? If you see over here, he has commented a link over here, right? And that link has a longer discussion on this. See, so we are not dealing about this. So he just raised an issue that use context doesn't let you subscribe to a part of the context value, right, without fully re-rendering. So if you see here, there is a lot of discussion going over here, and there is someone, right, Mark Erickson, right? He just commented over here that we can use something called as observed bits, which I'll be talking about. Okay, so he just suggested something to do something related to the bit masking. So let's try to understand what is it. And if you see Dan Abramov's tweet on 2018 Jan, is that interesting power user feature of the new context API, ability to skip updates using a bit mask. So guys, don't worry, this is just a future availability, right? So using this feature right now, which I'm going to talk about, is something that is not encouraged. Okay, if you want to actually do something like this, we just did an experiment with the Gudu and Bublu example, right? So you just follow that, but let's explore this. Okay, what this bit masking concept means, right? So guys, this time we are going to explore this bit masking concept, right, which already exists, but again this is going to be not encouraged, right? This is not encouraged to use because this is going to be available in future versions. This is right now unstable, but that's why we are calling it a secret, right? So if you see in my create context, if you hover over this, you see that there is a second parameter called calculate change bits, right, which is a function, right, which accepts. So let's first of all let me just tell you that, because the documentation over here is not that clear. So our create context actually accepts a second param, which is a function, and that function accepts my two things, right? That function has two parameters that we call it as old and new values, right? So what it does is that whenever something in the provider store changes, or whenever this app re-renders, we know that this value is changing, and when this value changes, my consumers re-render itself, right? And I know that whenever something in the provider value changes, my this second function, the function in the second param executes. So this is where we are going to use the power, right? And the the params are the old values and the new values, right? The old value is the old state, right? And the new value is the new state. So these are the two params in my function. Now what I will do is I can use this function to return something, do various type of calculations, that whether actually in my new and old value the guns are changing, or the carpets are changing, or actually nothing is changing, and we are gonna return something based on that. Okay, so what we are gonna return is that we are gonna return a binary number, right? So we'll be seeing it why we are calling it a bit masking concept, right? So let me tell you that if my old val dot guns is not equal to new val dot guns, okay, it means my guns have changed, right? And my carpets have remained the same, right? So guys, this whole conditioning can be made more efficient, or depending upon what we need, right? So in this case I know that only my guns is changing and my carpets are same, right? I am doing something wrong, but comparing to it, oh my god. So this is it, and I know that I am gonna return a binary number. So how to return a binary number? 0b tells that my number ahead of this is going to be a binary number, right? So let me return a 0 1 from here. Fine. So similarly, I'm gonna have a condition for carpets, that when the carpets change, I'm gonna return 0b 1 0. It means 2. This means 1. Okay, 0 1 means 1, and 0b 1 0 means 2. So let me, I have actually written this whole thing so that I don't have to rewrite it again. So I have this second param over here, right? And I'm just going to uncomment all of this, what I have done. Okay, so this is it. This means that, okay, let me remove all the console logs. Okay, so this means the carpets are changing. This means that everything is changing, even the carpets and guns, and this means that nothing is changing. So in this case I'm returning a 1, in this case I'm returning a 2, in this case I'm returning a 3, and in this case I'm returning a 0. Fine. 1 means the guns have changed, 2 means the carpets have changed, and this is something. So this is called, this function is called as calculate changed bits, right? So let me just come in, right? Now I know that my Guddu and Bablu are the consumers, right? So here again there is a secret API over here, is that the use context takes a second parameter over here, which you see is a, I don't know if it's not clearly written over here, is a number again, right? So what I'm gonna tell Guddu is that whenever you are using this context, just observe some bits, right? So what we call the second parameter over here is that it is the observed bits. So what is Guddu going to observe is 0b 01. Okay, so this is the same value that we are returning from this function, right, when the guns are changing. So this means that my Guddu should actually observe the guns, right? So I'm just passing the same bits over here, the same value 1. Similarly for Bablu, I'm gonna pass 0b10, that is 2, when the carpets are changing. So this is the observed bit and this is the changed bit. So internally both these values are basically done a bitwise AND, right? And if it returns a non-zero value, this component will re-render itself. So guys, be patient, just try to see what happens right now. So I have this whole number, but if this whole thing is true, oh, so to actually prove this whole thing, I'll have to remove the first solution that we were using, that is of use memo, so that we can actually test this bit masking solution, right? What I've done is fine. So sorry, so this is it, and I have removed the first solution that I had done from Guddu and Bablu both, right? I'm just returning, I'm not returning any memoized component if you see, right? I'll just rely on the secret feature of the React context, right? That is bit masking. So now if I click over here, I see that, oh my god, nothing is working, right? And if you see, there is a warning that use context second argument is reserved for future use in React. Passing it is not supported. So as I told, this is not encouraged to use, right? This will be available in the future, maybe in the future versions of React. So currently I'm using the version 17, right? So this is it. And but my solution didn't work, right? What did this happen, right? So first of all, let's try to see one thing, right? Whenever I'm clicking on the buttons, right, my setStore method is called, my parent is getting re-rendered, and since now my GoodDo component is not at all memoized, so this is also re-rendering itself, right? So one thing that I need to change over here is that, so basically the rendering happens because of two reasons in this scenario, right? When my parent re-renders, automatically whenever this state in my parent component changes, my child component also re-renders. So just forget everything about context for a second and just think that this is just a parent-child kind of relationship, that when my parent is rendering itself, my child should also re-render, right? So my GoodDo just re-renders, but in our first solution we had memoized it, so it was not re-rendering, right? But in this we have not, it is just a normal parent to child relationship, so that's why it is re-rendering itself. So how should we control this, right? So first of all, I will uh, stop this generic re-rendering between the parent and the child. And how I can do it over here is that I will first memoize this whole thing, right? So that I'm sure that my components are just rendering due to the context changes, not due to the parent-child relationship, right? So I am going to just memoize this whole thing, and I know that it returns. So since I cannot return the two components over here, so I have to wrap it in a fragment, right? So let's, and we are done, right? And I know that my second argument is going to be, I'll explain it why it is going to be props, right? So what I'm doing over here is I'm just memoizing this whole thing so that whenever my parent renders itself, my this component does not re-render itself, right? I'm just going to stop this rendering due to the parent-child relationship, and I'm just relying upon the context, right? If the context changes, then of course this GoodDo and Bubbly will change, because that is something different. That is an extra subscription, right? So now what I have done here is that I have memoized based on props. Only if the props will change, then only this memoization will, sorry, this rendering will happen for this functional component over here, right? So when my setStore is called, there is no props, right? There is no props that is getting changed. So this will stay memoized. Now let's come to GoodDo, right? Now if I click it, if you see, when I click guns, only the GoodDo component is changing, and when I click carpets, only my Bubbly component is re-rendering itself. So this is a proof that we have stopped the generic parent to child rendering, and we are actually just rendering based on the context. So guys, this is one kind of thing that you can do, but again, this is discouraged to use. So this was just for exploring, right? Again, so let's hope you guys had fun understanding this. I'm going to minimize this and let's read this over here, right? He had tweeted, so Dan Abram is the co-author of React, right? Sorry, he's in the core team member of React, and he's the author of Redux. So this is a tweet by him that this is the changed bits. This is the function that we had passed to the second parameter of the create context. This is the observed bits that we pass in the use context. Both are and, okay. And so guys, this is how the update and no update is decided. Internally, React does a bitwise and of both these observed bits and changed bits, okay. And if it's the same value, then it will update, and so basically if it's a non-zero, it will update, and if it's a zero, it will not update. So this is what we have done over here, right?